Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. Chances are high where you're seeing this video. I'm likely at BlizzCon somewhere in California, but I'm recording it before I go to announce the 10.2 spreadsheet now being public and live and all of that, and briefly review, I guess, parts of it and all that heading into patch 10.2, which is hitting November 7th. Like I said, I'm probably at BlizzCon at this point, but the spreadsheet is a constant work in progress. It's been happening over the past couple months, over the course of PTR and things. I mentioned it a handful of times in videos and things through Patreon if you like early access to it, the tier 3 Felgar rank or higher gets it. But at some point it goes public. Today is that day. It is now going public. So we're going to talk about it here. Let's just get into it, honestly. It shouldn't be that long of a video. Yeah, so sorry if it's a little small. Hope we can make it full screen. Also, just in general, there's a link to the spreadsheet down below in the video description. So there are multiple tabs here at the bottom. We have tabs covering the raid, covering raid BIS gearing, Season 3 Mythic Plus BIS gearing, talent builds for each spec, and then a Sims tab. Now, I may add another tab or two, depending how things go, but basically the spreadsheet has always been a compilation of basically information. You can typically gather this info from like all the videos that I put out on YouTube for like raid testing, all that kind of stuff. But if you want it all in like one precise, I guess, concise area, this is where it typically is. So yeah, the first page here, Amirdrassil stuff, basically just highlights every boss. It talks about like the fight type, recommended specs in the fight, some brief notes on it, probably change these up there more over the next few well, days, weeks. Links to heroic testing as well as mythic testing for these bosses. Volcaros was bugged. I did not test mythic on this boss. This was canceled but retested here on heroic. I did test mythic. I don't know if the video went up. If it did, I'll put it over here. If not, we'll see. Fire rack has not been tested. It will not be on PTR, but if you want links to testing for heroic, mythic here, a full normal Amirdrassil clear over here as well. Recommended specs, basically talent builds for each spec, like, I guess theoretical ones, which should be best in the fight. Dash redeem one AF for all of them here. Links to Twitch, Twitter, Discord, YouTube, Patreon, my website, TikTok, all kinds of stuff up here if you want them. And this is typically updated when I remember to do it, when I change the sheet. So there's your like change log in a sense. But yeah, if you want to hit on bosses here, this is basically like the place to be for lock stuff basically on these bosses. Yeah, normal heroic, or I guess heroic mythic, boss builds, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, likely updating these tabs a bit more when we get closer to the actual raid opening up with more precise timings and things like that. Now, I've made tabs here for Amirdrassil BIS gearing as well as Season 3 Mythic Plus BIS gearing. This could very, very well change. I put this information into like a Droptimizer sim through raid bots and things on PTR. And at the same time, there are certain things that might gain value based on your secondary stats compared to mine, even at a lower or higher eye level. Now, going through the raid, you can see, I mean, I put the last two bosses here. There's a belt, gloves, a neck, a staff, a trinket from the last two bosses being Tindral and Fire Rack. A lot of I guess a good bit that is listed here, like the staff, the neck, everything else. Typically higher eye level usually ends up reigning supreme, but at the same time, it's worth running those like high-end Droptimizer sims for both raiding and Mythic Plus to find out what's best for you. This boss loot priority list here is a very loose like prio, I guess, well, list here in general. Typically, this was more relevant back in the day when we had coins and things to spend, but coins are unfortunately gone. Either way, most of the bosses here, I mean, like Narroot, Volcaros, and Council of Dreams, which I don't know how to do that, typically aren't, I mean, they really aren't like that impactful as far as gear is concerned. Council has pips, so I might add just like a note for pips here. But for the most part, I mean, all the bosses have tier. I mean, Tindral, Smolderon, Naimu, Igira. I put Fire Rack here because the gloves can indeed be catalyzed at some point in the tier, later on at a higher eye level, as well as Laradar are all listed for tier, all that kind of stuff. And besides that, if you want to click these items here, it'll pull up the links to the actual item on Wowhead, a Heavy Haste Mastery Ring, and there you go. When it comes to M plus gearing, to a similar extent, I've gone through the dungeons. There is no Droptimizer on raid bots currently for S3 dungeons. I've run some individual like profile sims that I've made on my own and that kind of stuff. This might end up increasing a little bit here, relevancy wise, but a lot of good items are in Darkheart and Talvazar. You can see, I mean, cloak, bracers, waist, ring. I guess rings plural, depending on how you want to look at it. Talvazar here for both boots as well as Darkheart Thicket. Similar to how, like, I think it was Neltharion's Lair and Oldemon were this season for us in S2. A lot of relevant items in the Talvazar and Darkheart. A lot of haste mastery, haste crit gear. But at the same time, a lot of overlapping items. For example, I mean, there's multiple boots here from Blackrook, Darkheart, Talazar. You can click all the links here and find out what they are. I mean, there's basically crit mastery, crit haste, I think haste mastery. And this will vary for you and your own character compared to mine. Crit mastery, crit haste, and I guess more crit mastery. So multiple options here, but it does highlight some of the bigger ones you probably should hit on. And plus, a handful of weapons, all that kind of stuff. If you want to scroll down here as well, it has eye levels listed for basically end of dungeon gear, what track it's on for upgrades, and then Great Vault end of dungeon loot, basically, and all that here as well, and also the track that it's on. Being highest you can go to is 483 in the vault when doing a 20, week 1 or whenever you can, and that is also on the Myth track here. And also this here as well, end of dungeon loot rewards, all that kind of stuff. It does hit briefly on the first crafted item, likely being Unyielding Spore Cloak, Undulating Spore Cloak. This could change depending on how things go tuning-wise and such. I think that it very likely will be the play. They've added in 10.2, if this changes here, I might be able to see it. Yeah, they've actually added a versatility effect to the cloak. It's much higher than this, because this is a low eye level one, but they've added a versatility effect to it, which is a passive effect when you're above 70% health. It's good in progression as far as shielding is concerned, the verse is concerned, the healing is concerned, all of that. It's solid all around. Plus, coming out of, Aberrus, we're wearing a no stamina cloak. It is the Silent Star cloak that does give you more stats, but at the same time, no stamina versus a stamina shield verse cloak. Looks pretty solid. The tabs here, AF, Demo, Destro builds, if you're looking for these builds, these are basically the ones that I'm probably going to talk about in the guides for the most part. Maybe a couple changes here and there, but it highlights AF builds. This is the double Soldier's Gluttony build with a Vile Taint and single target. If you want links to them, just hit them here. It'll go to Wildhead for you. This is going to be the double Gluttony Vile Taint build here as well. And Cleave, having Seed and Sow in a raid setting with Soul Flame. No PI and no Soul Swap. And this is like your basic like Doom Blossom. This should actually be a different build here. I'll change that. I don't know why, but we'll fix that. Not cutting the video. It's too late at night, but I'll fix that. But all the builds here, it should basically be whatever you want for the next patch. This is updated from an hour ago. Demo single target, Grand Warlock's Hatred Cleave build, and also like the Guillotine build, all that kind of stuff. Same for Destro if you want to hear as well. And the final tab here, we have a handful of sims. A lot of these sims are running using my own character. With my own character's profiling, not like the BIS gearing profile other people have out there. There are embellishment sims here, showing a lot of like Spore Cloak, Lariat value. Bracers of Time Dilation, whatever they're called, they're in these sims, but I did not add in the allied effect to them. Time Dilation could be a good craft too, depending on what your raid does. But if you want to see like racial sims, tier set sims, trinkets, AoE builds will be up when they are available, as well as like single target sims. They basically should all be here. So if you're looking for any sims or all that kind of stuff, check this tab. And yeah, if there's any info that's not here you want to see, I can try and squeeze it in if y'all throw it down below in the comment section. Like I said, chances are high I'm probably at BlizzCon at this point. But either way, hopefully you guys, I don't know, like it, enjoy it. Hopefully it's helpful. And yeah, that's basically that. So yeah, that's it. I'll keep it short and sweet. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the spreadsheet, sort of rinse and repeat here again. But if you want it, there's a link down below to it. This is the spreadsheet that I talked about for a while that had early access on Patreon. If you guys are interested in it next tier or whatever, it happens basically every tier. Doesn't typically happen for like 0.5 patches unless there's like some large overhauls or whatever, but we'll see. I guess we'll find out at BlizzCon if there's a 10.3 or if we're going into 11.0. But nonetheless, I appreciate y'all watching. Thank you for all support, and yeah, I will catch you all again soon, hopefully in 10.2, a few days from now. If not, maybe a little bit before then from BlizzCon. Peace.